How are we, people? How the hell are we for this beautiful Sunday? Just waiting for everyone to get on, get in the mood with a little bit of this meditation music. I'm going to the gym and I still listen to this stuff and it still gets me pumped up. People like, how can you get pumped up by listening to this sort of stuff? But well, it gets me going. So hope everyone is having an amazing Sunday session today. You know, it's Sundays are always, you know, a lot of people say they're a very special day for a lot of people. They're on the holy calendar. Most people go to church. Fido and everyone else, how are we all? I saw everyone's names just pop up. So I know I'm having a fantastic day. I've been doing a lot of research, Fido, my sister. You know, I've been doing a lot of research into really taking my consciousness and awareness to a different level. And I've really been looking at the pineal gland, understanding the pineal gland, aligning both sides of the brain, understanding wave frequencies, and just really wanting to know to take this ability that we have, take this knowing, really just take the, Chris, brother, how you doing? I'll have to get back to your message. I saw that, so thank you. So really understanding the human evolution and humanity, and really why we're here and why we're put on this planet. Matty G, good to have you on, my brother. So hello. So what I've been looking at is understanding how to bring everything we desire into our lives. So I've been speaking to a lot of so-called, we might think that they are, or we might feel that these people are successful. And when I say by successful, that people are bringing in what they desire easy and effortlessly, and in a way that's through congruently from their heart, that matches with my values, and at the same time, it's, you know, adding massive value to other people. Because what I'm really seeing is there's a lot of people. Hey, Yanni, how are you, bro? Good to. I haven't seen you at the park for a while, mate. So. Deep Sun, how are you? Thanks, brother, for making my head organize my Sunday a lot more positive. Oh, beautiful, man. I really appreciate that. So it's this indirect love, this indirect message. And, you know, everyone, I really, really appreciate everybody. I truly do. I'm not just saying that. Like, it honestly, it makes me emotional because, you know, some people I've met deep. I know that we haven't purposely or properly met. The same thing as Yanni, but we will meet soon, my Melbourne brother. It feels like we've met, so much love. I was at Falconer Park yesterday and it was freezing. It was so cold. I had to get out of the trees and get into the sun, and that, you know how beautiful it is. Joanne, good to have you on. So every time I see your name, Bududdy, how do you say it? Ben Dotty. It's like the mafia. It's like, I'm gonna make sure I say the right thing to you, because it's like you're gonna have you know, the what's that Goodfellas after me. So yeah, it's we had a really interesting experience yesterday. Jabal and I have really been going deep and looking at the whole understanding. We haven't used this yet. She's like the mafia. They both are women now, so it keeps us on our toes. So I've really been looking at the understanding and the science behind DMT, which is an understanding of our body. I'm not going to attempt to say demorphalize whatever it is, and I've been going, and I follow a lot of Joe Rogan, and I wanted to really go and understand that everybody has a different belief of how they look at the world. And you know, I once you get to a certain plateau or a certain place, I call it a plateau because you get to a certain place and you want to go again, you want to evolve. And I've been looking at the, you know, what's there that people don't want to know, what they don't want to tell us about. So if you don't understand, the pineal gland is, there's a chamber in our brain, and I'm not going to attempt, I'm not a brain surgeon, that where this pineal gland sits, this is the higher consciousness, or what people call the third eye. And, you know, it's been around since the first civilizations, been around the Egyptians, the Aztecs, so on and so forth. And what the pineal gland is, it's the third eye where it's a higher consciousness. And what I've been learning is that the human race, which is us, we have been conditioned for our time to not function at this consciousness, and we are actually spiritual beings functioning through this body, which is the flesh and being, but we are meant for a lot of a higher consciousness. And that's why we are starting to awaken, and we are stepping into that power. It's like people think, oh, we are getting smarter, we're evolving. We're not. We're just remembering how conscious and able we've always been. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's someone's opinion, that's someone's belief. Let's do some research. So I know for a few years that, you know, obviously your pineal gland and the consciousness, that fluoride, which is in our water, go get it tested if you've got that. I remember I tested this many times when I was back in Melbourne 6 years ago. I've got a friend that's got a lab. He's got a sports lab. He makes peptides, and he tested the water. There's fluoride and other stuff in the water that you don't even know about in Australia. Yeah, in America, forget about it. It's disgusting. So fluoride's in our toothpaste. Fluoride is almost in an understanding of there is just so much fluoride in absolutely everything, and fluoride is one of the biggest killers. Was given to the prisoners in the you know, obviously the German war, in the concentration camps. It's just, yeah, really crazy. Just positive vibes without even meeting people in real life. My point of 3 eyes to be aware and to see the world without judgment. Beautiful, I love it. So a lot of the other understanding through the third eye, what you'll see is, or what you'll feel, that it is a higher consciousness, and you start to relate to others, you start to relate to yourself, you start to see the world through a different eye, and that's why they call it the third eye. You will react to things differently, and you'll have an understanding. So what I've really been going deep in is, okay, people talk about manifestation. People talk about, you know, bringing things into their life and so on and so forth. So obviously think about this. Wherever you are at right now is choices that you've made and decisions through your belief system and your consciousness, yeah? So whatever results that you have or you haven't, and, you know, all these things that are coming about, what you really need to understand is wherever you are right now is purely up to you for how you've allowed yourself. So, but most people have just existed through their life and have got what they want. But if you actually start to break down and actually start to bring awareness to how you've got what you've got and how you are where you are, you will actually, once you know that strategy, you'll be able to apply it, and your life will explode into your desired outcomes, into an existence that you've never dreamed of, or that you have dreamed of, but you truly wouldn't believe that you're able and you're capable of this. And I'm talking from experience. So what I find is that through life there is challenges, yeah, and through the last couple of weeks or month after the retreat, it just seemed like challenge after challenge after challenge, and it just kept going on and on and on, and it wasn't a great time. So I stood back as a leader and said, okay, how am I letting this affect me? How is my consciousness getting taken away, and my awareness from where we should be going, how we should be evolving, how we're adding services, how I'm leading my team, how I'm putting the right energy in? So what I looked at, that in life, you are going to have people that aren't going to be functioning at their best. And more importantly, they're not going to be functioning in a way that it deserves and it upholds the relationship for growth. But what you have to remember, are they the leader or are you the leader? Do you have their experience or do they have the experience? You do. So what you need to remember is these people do not think too highly of others, of what they are expecting, because they do not think too highly of themselves. So you can't say, how dare they do that? Why are they acting like that? They're people just functioning from their consciousness of what they know right now. But of course they know they're doing something wrong. Of course they know that they could be functioning and operating at a higher consciousness and, you know, standards and so on and so forth. But that's up to them. That's their decision. Don't lose your way in consciousness towards that. Why I'm telling you this? Because the world is created and programmed and set up to take our awareness and our consciousness and our focus and our attention from what we truly desire and want and what we are capable of. How we know this? There is so much, you know, firstly, there's so much poisoning of our physical body through foods, through deliberate poisoning, through fluoride, radio waves that are, being put in phones and so on and so forth, put through the TV. There is programming called television. That's why it's called actual programming, which is programming your mind. So when you start to remove these out of your life, people, then you really start to see a massive difference, and you'll start believing what I'm saying. So what I've been doing a lot of research about, obviously, when people say right brain and left brain, that we do function and use both parts of the brain, but there are parts of the brain that we're more dominant, we use that one more. And obviously the right brain is the creative brain. It's the artistic brain. It's the outrageous brain. Left brain is more logical, more of an accountant, more a bit boring. No, but you need both of them. So if you actually look at, and I was looking at this, doing a bit of research yesterday, but if you actually look at both brains under an MRI, like a scan, an MRI scan, and you can actually see how it's functioning and the pulsating of each brain. And what happens is, it's actually a cross-directional sort of functioning and operation. And what that means is that your brain is functioning at halves. So if you feel like you're having an internal tug-of-war, you might be thinking a good thought, and then you're something else, and then it doesn't feel like it's, going very smoothly. So what they have discovered through awakening and clearing and untoxifying your pineal gland, plus brave waves, which they're called theta, T-H-E-T-A, brain waves. These brain waves are sending messages, and they're occupying your subconscious mind, which is called the editor. So through these teachings, the editor is our subconscious mind. And through the understanding of just letting you know that when our subconscious mind is occupied, we are able to focus on, because this is probably going to seem a little bit weird, yeah? Or whatever the word is weird, I'm going to use this logical. We are pure manifestational beings. Humans have been put on this earth, and we are meant, in our pure state, in our natural state, we are manifestational beings. So what that means is, through time, our subconscious, the programming, through the beliefs, the external representations, we are programmed not to manifest. And when we are manifesting, we think that we are growing, we think that we're learning these new powers. But what we're actually doing, we're actually unlearning everything that's stopping us from being pure manifestational beings in our pure state. So I found that very interesting. So, what the difference is, and where I found my success is, that we can have knowledge, but it's the implication, and it's how you apply knowledge will set you free. So I like to obviously, test everything, because, I like to talk from my own life experience. So through different experiments, there's obviously these theta waves, there's beta waves, there's delta. Delta puts you to sleep, and they're at these different frequencies, and because that occupies the brain, and when you're actually listening to this certain brainwave, which is the theta brainwave, that your brain, instead of you having this directional, cross-directional miscommunication, your brain starts to act as a whole. So that's when the magic happens, that the brain actually starts to pulsate. Instead of having these two separate communications, that the brain starts to pulsate as a whole, and then that's when you feel whole. That's when you feel, people, you would have had some of these days before when you've just felt like you had a magic power, and miracles were just popping up. You felt so comfortable within yourself. You had undeniable energy, love, conviction, and you're just like, geez, wish I could have that day. And that's because either you've been in contact with sort of brain waves, or that you've actually fired off one of these repetitions that fires off and keeps your brain as a whole, instead of having it as a conflicting interest, which is most people's brains they're just hardwired like that. So is this making sense to you guys? I know it's pretty woo-woo for some, but it's very, very powerful for others. And I'll just park here for now. So that's the science behind it, yeah? That's the science behind it. So what you want to start really taking into cause, and what you really want to start understanding, is that when you can understand to, obviously you guys know DMT, and as I can't say the word, it's the drink ashwaka or something. It's the drink which they have in the Amazon. So what that does is, when you're ingesting DMT, which is part of the plants, which actually takes you to the spiritual realm, and it's a psychedelic, that your body has an enzyme that turns off the DMT when you have it. But this understanding of when you're having this root which takes you and it gives you, that drop of DMT, that I'm trying to remember the name. Is it? I was listening to it yesterday through Joe Rogan. It's that drink what they have in Brazil in the Amazon. So what happens is, this drink takes you to a high awareness, which drops down the reality, occupies your, lets you speak to the subconscious mind on who you are, and it lets you face your truths. It lets you face who you are. It's understanding, and it's breaking down all the walls. It's breaking down all the limiting beliefs. It's breaking down all the addictions. It's breaking down all this false facade that which we've been led to believe for so many years. So where people have this massive this generation, or this transformation as well, it is that they understand that what they feel, or what they think, or what they've been conditioned to feel, which is important, isn't actually important, and they start to face their truths. They start to face the maker. It's the creator. And some people say they connect to high intelligence and, aliens and spirits and the rest of that. Whatever that might be, that might just be your mind making it up, or you could probably be functioning. People don't know. They don't know what's real or not. But what it is that there is a message there, and that is for you to face your demons and to bring yourself into a higher consciousness. So a lot of people are going to Brazil, to the Amazon, and it's, changing lives. It's stopping addiction, suicide, and, just creating, people's awareness is absolutely amazing. Deep goes, the best part of it is awakening is not hard, but the hard part is how to value your awakening and how beautiful to handle your awakening. And to keep your awakening evolving, really good. I love that. Easy to unlock the brain, but hard to manage it and keep it focused. Look, if you say it's hard, it will be hard. So what you need to understand, that your subconscious is a filter of, there is magic going everywhere. But because your subconscious is become a filter, which is basically the editor, so the information and value that you're getting and what you're receiving is how you digest it, or how you value it, or how you metabolize it, is through the editor. And there's a way through these brainwaves, the theater brainwaves, through subconscious declarations that are occupying your and actually reprogramming. It takes 21 days to reprogram your editor, your subconscious, to allow, because what happens is, a lot of these manifestational techniques, a lot of these self-development gurus, what they're doing is they're forcing content and knowledge into you. And the reason why you're not getting sustainable change, which is neuroplasticity, and what that means is that is changing the hardwiring of the neurosystems, which is actually physically the neurosystems which sends electrical pulses, which sends messages, which is brainwaves, which is memory, which is basically, which is neurons going through the body. But because it's not sustainable change, it's neuroplasticity, which is keeping you that continued change. What happens? Because the editor, which is your subconscious is not reprogrammed, you're basically just throwing yourself and, you're hitting a brick wall. So what you will start to realize is that when you are making change, or when you're doing meditation, and when you're doing all this other stuff, is that a lot of these processes that are coming through, that you are putting all this energy, time and money, but because you're not having sustained change, because you aren't reprogramming your subconscious or the editor for that to be able to be a filter to see what you're bringing into your world, how you're taking it in, how you're metabolizing. So what you start to see is that you will start to begin, and that's why my retreat's called, the first day is called the unlearning, because you're unlearning all the bullshit. People go, I need to learn this, I need to study. No, you need to unlearn and get rid of all that plaque, firstly on your pineal gland, and then secondly around your brain and energy cells, because you will start to become, oh my God, that anything that I focus on with a conscious thought, a conscious attention span, comes to me. And we are so powerful, and this is what you need to understand. But we are so deadly in our success and our evolution as well. But what I will say is, instead of you wanting to go forward and making it up and pretending that you have to grow, because it's like walking through a dark room or walking through a room with your eyes shut. But if you can say, okay, I know where I want to go, but work backwards from there and start to unlearn, that will give you the ability and the belief to start unwinding all the bullshit that hasn't served you since existence. So the really powerful thing that I really want you to take away from this Sunday soul session as well, that oh, it's no problem, Deep. Where are you located as well? Who have we got? River, good to have you on. River Jordan, White Marble Stone. Oh, I love that. So another thing you really want you to take for, don't take for granted, that have you ever seen a Buddha? Have you seen their head? Have you noticed that it's a shape of a pine cone? Yeah. Have you ever noticed that if you look at a Buddha, if you look at if you look at the Chinese the Buddha, and if you look at in the Indian Hindu, if you look at the top of a Buddha, it's the shape of a pine cone. And what that means is, through the pineal gland, which you know, the ancient philosophers, ancient Greeks, ancient Egyptians, they all knew that if you look at the eye, the third eye, the eye of Horus, that's actually it's the cavity. I don't really know the terminology, so I'm not going to pretend, but where the pineal gland sits is in the brain, where the actual, it's like a cave, or the actual where it sits behind the pituitary gland. So you have your brain, you have the pituitary gland, and you have the tiny pineal gland there. And if you actually look at the physiology or the anatomy, it's actually the eye of Horus, which is the third eye that you see everywhere. Yeah. So that's not just something which they go, oh, okay, let's just make it up. It looks quite good. If you get that and you simultaneously put it onto a brain cut in half, you will see it is the actual physiology of the actual of the eye of Horus, and where it sits is the third eye, is your pineal gland. And I found that quite interesting as well. So as you look at all the Buddhas, their head is half, or it is a pineal gland. Yeah. So it's not a pineal gland, it's a pine cone. And what I found interesting as well, if you look at the Pope, yeah, or you look at the Vatican, I'm pretty sure that's, you know, the Vatican, obviously, where that is in Rome. The Vatican, when you walk through, I think it's I don't think it's St. Peter's, or where the Pope comes and addresses everybody. There are pine cones everywhere. There is these huge pine cones everywhere. And the reason why these pine cones are there, and when you see the staff of the Pope, there is a pine cone on the staff. So you find that very interesting, because through this time and through existence, these higher powers, these darker entities that control us, control the banks and the rest of it, they know that us humans are pure, conscious, manifestational beings. Yeah? I'm going to get this, as you can see, my English is going, I'm excited. I'm having internal, my right brain is punching my left brain at the moment. It wants to get creative, and my left brain's going, no, be logical and say it the right way. It's like, rah, 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 as it, you know, as you can see. So a really good way to be able to detoxify your pineal gland is stop drinking water, tap water, stop drinking bottled water, stop brushing your teeth with fluoride, limit your alcohol, stop smoking, stop anything that's toxic. So spirulina is very good. Chlorophyll, through obviously the herb, that is very good to clean it out as well. And there's something else. I think it's called skate. It's skate liver enzyme. I have to remember it. I'll find out and I'll send you that is. But it's an enzyme that helps take away all that plaque, because your pineal gland is actually a magnet for fluoride. So what these higher powers, whoever are, they know that fluoride is actually a magnet, and it starts to calcify and starts to rot your pineal gland from the inside out. So I remember when I was in Hollywood, I was staying in Hollywood, and I was being a bit lazy. Spirulina, yes, that's right. And I was drinking a lot of the tap water, because I should normally have bottled water, and I was just, sitting around the apartment. And I felt so tired. I felt so grumpy. I actually felt like I had car sickness. So I was doing a bit of research, And one of my friends said, hey, you haven't been drinking the water, have you? And they're in the States. And I said, yeah, I have. And they go, Lee, you don't understand of the amount of fluoride that's put through the water, the amount of, there's amino acids, there's even like some, not birth control, but there is a sample which is similar to a birth control through the water. And I'm like, what? They said, yeah. And I remember I started doing a little bit of research on it, and I put up a post regarding, you know, the pineal gland and the rest of it, and it got taken off Facebook 5 times. It just went down and down. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? Is there something wrong with my computer? So then people started communicating, because there was a lot of traffic, you know, too many eyes on it, you know, Big Brother couldn't take it away. And I found that really interesting. So what I want you to understand, and what I've been finding has been very, very powerful, is that obviously our subconscious is wanting to occupy our mind and is wanting to distract us, yeah? So a lot of these things are going to come up, and it's going to, you know, distract us. And it's like a little kid, Mum, I want lollies, I want lollies. No, Mum, take me here. And that's our subconscious mind. But through this understanding of, I can even give you the link to this site where you can actually buy the theta, and you put it on your headphones, and it's 15 minutes every day, and it occupies and starts to reprogram the editor, your subconscious. So your subconscious becomes the filter that you see the world through a different pair of eyes. And I actually stumbled upon this through my own meditation. And yesterday, and why I'm telling you this is, yesterday I had a flotation tank at Beyond Rest here in Paran. My boy Kai, you know, is an awesome bloke. He runs it. And I went very deep into using a breathing technique of what you do is, it really understands, and you feel like it's making you really lightheaded and you're going to pass out. But what it actually does is actually putting air and oxygen, which starts to, not calcifies, but it's like rubbing, you know, when you rub a muscle and that, and it actually goes up into your brain and it does something to your pineal gland. So the way the technique works is you breathe out of your nose all the way, breathe in, out, in through your nose, then out through your mouth, in through your mouth, and you keep doing this until you start to feel lightheaded. Then another thing you do, which I add to it, which is more of a programming thought as well, which is more of my success priming, is that I will, like, you breathe out everything, and with you putting your intention of when you're breathing out all uncertainty, any negativity, any darkness, anything that's not serving you, and you're breathing that out. Then you take a deep, like a breath in, little one, to get your lungs, and then you breathe in. Then you start breathing in everything that you want to communicate. So with my health, it's my health identity, it's my wealth identity, it's my contribution identity, it's my legacy and family identity, it's my relationship identity, it's my passion and enjoyment, it's my spiritual guidance and my spiritual being identity, and it's me stepping into my power identity. And whatever that looks, sounds, and you know, feels to me, that's what I do. So I know those identities very clear. And while I'm breathing in, I'm thinking of them. So it's what that is teaching the body, and what is that simultaneously instructing, is that when I am breathing in, I'm doing that. And obviously I'm in the flotation tank, I'm floating, I'm relaxed. You've got all the body of the magnesium coming through your body. It's pitch black as well. And at this time, you're feeling quite like you've taken some drugs. And what you do is, when you're breathing and holding your air in, you swallow, and then you picture, that's when you swallow, that's the identity, that's your thought pattern, and then it starts to engulf your whole body, yeah? And you have light shining all the way through your body, and you start to feel the transformation of, you've just taken your thoughts, your visualizations, you've taken them down, and you've brought them down into your heart center and into your being. And you hold your breath, and you will be shocked that because you're focusing on that, taking away that you need to breathe. I held my breath for at least 2 minutes. It must have been 2 minutes. And normally I do that, and you know, I haven't trained. You know, there's a guy, that German dude, someone Wolf, he does a very similar breathing technique. And I tell you what, and by doing that technique and actually focusing on illuminating your pineal gland, whatever that needs to be, and Johnny here in Melbourne is a Reiki master and a good friend of Ryan Fester's. He showed us by, and I've done this in the guided meditation, illuminating your pineal gland, bring it down to your heart center, and having an explosion of consciousness and expanding. And I did this in the flotation tank. And I tell you what, where I went, it just felt like I was just, you know, when you see Star Wars and you go light travel, and I was just boom, 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 going to all these different dimensions. And I remember Jaboa, she was telling me she came out of her body and started going through all these different realms. And, you know, the way she explained it, it was just so, you know, so spot on and so cool and sexy. But that's simultaneously what happens is, apparently your brain in the pineal gland, it actually starts to secrete a little bit of that DMT, which takes you into almost a psychedelic. It's almost in between the cosmic dream world and the conscious world. And the stuff that came up, people, and how when I came out, like, people were talking to me, and I was there, but I was that in my inner world that you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm there, I'm listening, nodding to the person, but I was so deep in my consciousness or in my subconscious that, you know, I wasn't asking, I wasn't moving forward, I wasn't growing. So it's how's everyone going? It works. Working on the course. TRE loved it. Oh yeah, you that's right. We did it in the True Authentic Reality. Yeah, and that was getting into your heart center, bringing in your pineal gland, bringing it down, and when it hits your heart space, boom, it actually explodes. So one thing you probably haven't noticed, like if you see my tattoos, I've got a cross there. And it's not a cross because I'm religious or whatever. It's a cross because it actually simulates my heart center. And that's why I've got a cross there. So I know when I've got my crystal, I place it there. And then what else I've got where my cross is, where my heart center is, I've got a tattoo and it says believe. So every time I take myself there, I find that that's the target of, that's why I've got a tattoo in exactly, it's the perfect spot. And then believe is, and then it like ignites it, and that fires off my heart-centered awareness. And I always notice when I drop out of my head and into my heart-centered awareness that it was just honestly an hour at the flotation tank. It felt like a lifetime. It felt like the journey that I went into and the stuff that I've come up with. It's just like, wow, like things, people, situations, energy, tasks that I thought that needed to be, that you gave significance to, forget about it. Like honestly, that my processing system and my thought patterns of these things in just 1 hour or a few days of doing this has just blown my mind that really, you just have to do the dance, take the emotion out of it. You'll be the energy because you want the desired outcome. Just do what you have to do, whatever it takes, with a smile on your face, easy and effortless. Do it every day. There you go. And what happens is, having that energy and the rest of that even today, I got so many messages of people, hey, what's going on with this? What are you doing about this two-day program in Melbourne? And it just was abundance of people that I haven't even, like there's other people that have obviously got, you know, marketing situations and people messaging, but these people, I'm like, how did you know? They were just like, oh, through this and that. The rest of it, I'm just like, whoa, because people that get put on your path when you put out that ripple effect. And I felt like, geez, man, like this is, you know, it feels like I've been forcing this. And then then I heard about your retreat, then I heard about this. Like people that I don't even have contact with are contacting me from America, contacting me from Spain, contacting me from England, contacting me from Malta, or Malta could be relatives, but, you know, contacting me from Italy, all around the world where I've never had any, you know, but it's that universal consciousness. And I tell you what, people, you will be shocked, believe it or not, that when you start, you're an antenna, when you start firing at the proper frequency, you are going to attract what you desire, because that's what you're putting out, and the universe will repay you. But if you're getting caught up with rubbish, if you're focusing on the wrong thing, if you're potentially and purposely doing the wrong thing, then you're going to get that back as well. So what I say to you as well, be very mindful of what you're writing, be very mindful of how and what you're concentrating and where your attention is, because what you need to understand, it's a constant state of attention, of where your attention is, that's what you're going to bring into your life. So the more you can realign and the more you can occupy the editor, which is your subconscious, and reprogram that so you do not need to keep looking for it, you're going to be able to keep your attention where it needs to go with the right belief system. So you see it, you hear it, you feel it, and you know it. So you're going to be able to manifest all your dreams and your desires. It's where our attention gets drawn to something else. It is basically, you know, as they say, where your focus goes, or when your attention goes, your focus goes. What you focus on, you become. What you think about, and so on and so forth. What you say, you believe. So they're very, very simple terminologies, but they can make all of a difference, and they can change your life. That will never be the same again. So with all this into there, what I would say is watch this again later today, take notes down. What I would love from you all, and I challenge you all, that what did you take away from this? The biggest takeaways, put it in the group, you know, post this, share it, because what I'm telling you people, this might just seem like just a normal little, you know, live stream, but I'm telling you, if you master this, if you truly believe in this, but you rock it out in your own way, not my way, rock it out the way it's going to fire you off, fire your values, fire your beliefs, fire your inner power, your life will never be the same. Because I'm telling you, within a couple days, that's what is just happened in my life, what's happened in Jabola's life, my thought patterns, you probably can feel my energy, even my processing system, how I relate to things or I don't. It's just been, you know, is this guy on drugs? It's like, well, no drugs can simulate this, man. There's no come down. Yeah, the only come down is when you stop moving forward. What is it? The water that you drink in the big bottle. So the water, what you want to be getting, it's the water that's in the supermarket. It's a stream. I can't remember the name. It's a 10 liter. And I was using the alkaline water as well. The alkaline water is a lot more hydrating. But what you want to start buying is, because you do not really want to trust anybody and you want to have a filter. It's you can actually get a water with these special rocks. I can't remember it. It's an Imogen water. It's from Japan. It's a very expensive filtration, but it's the way it brings up the particles, the way it actually, you know, the water that you have, it just lets your body absorb and your body becomes a hydration machine. I will find out more about it as well. I know there's a filterization system. It's a Japanese design where you've got these rocks which are sending out different like electrodes or different pulses, magnesium, which changes the electrons, or it changes the frequency, or changes the something in the water. So it's a filter. Yeah, it's a filter, and it's similar to an alkaline filter as well. I'll find out exactly what it does, because I know that it changes the molecules of the water, which then your body becomes, it rehydrates it, you know, especially when you have a protein powder, your body becomes such an absorbent machine. You feel great, because what it's doing as well, the you know, the positive and the negative, it's giving you that energy as well through the water and through the little electric you know, the pulsations and so on and so forth. So these are all these things that you can add, and you'll start to see within a month, you will start to have this open awareness. You won't have that fogginess anymore. So people, what I would add, you know, get to flotation tanks. You know, what I do in my True Authentic Reality really gives you that understanding. You know, I'm taking in all these different guided meditations from around the world from my spiritual healers, which is going to give you a good understanding how to do that. You know, what I talk about, and a lady was asking me about the identity creation. So through the workshops, through the retreats, and through my teachings, is I grab a little bit in through my, you know, my gurus and my teachers and some amazing spiritual healers or light workers that I've worked with and who I'm working with, and I will take in bits and pieces and I will customize it for who I'm in front of. So what that means, who I'm working with, I know what they're about. So I'm not just going to go, well, let's just be broad. I'm like, okay, cool. I know people are dealing with that. I know people are going to relate to this. I know people aren't. So I don't want to have too much residue side of, you know, leftover waste of knowledge. I want it to be quite short and sharp. So obviously I know my audience, or know most of my audience. So when I'm doing a topic, or when I'm teaching, when I'm doing guided meditations, I can feel the energy of what to do and what not. Like if you've been to any of my retreats, or if you've been there before, yeah, you know, Chris, you've been at my retreat, you're part of the True Authentic Reality as well. You will see that it's very spontaneous. It's very, you know, we'll go from here and we'll go from there, then we'll change to this and we'll do that. And people are like, you know, how do you know what to do? And as Matty G will say, we set a structure, but I always flip that shit. You know, Matty stacks that shit, I always flip it. So that's just a gift I feel like I have. And but what I say is, you know, just to put all this in a nutshell, be careful about the water, because I said the fluoride, stop brushing your teeth with that, get an organic, make sure that you can actually start to do visualizations when you are illuminating your pineal gland, where that's going to illuminate, and that, look at that antenna and like it's sending out, and just see yourself communicating, you know, across the world and bringing in all that energy. Make sure that you're eating that's why I stopped eating meat. You know, I'm a vegetarian because a lot of the toxins in that. Eat a plant-based diet, drink a lot of the clear water, do a lot of meditation guidance. What's really good as well is have Epsom salt with essential oils. That's really good to clean some of your chakras, and it's really good to clean some of your you know, energetic auras as well. It's really good to do that. Another thing that you can do, is, again, you can go into the sun. The sun's very good because negative frequency or negative energy doesn't survive in the sun. So you can actually go in the sun and sit there and do a guided meditation of where you're igniting your pineal gland, where you're going back and moving forward. Oh, awesome, Jody, thank you. So all these things you can do, and it does make a difference. Like if you told me this about 5 years ago, what I'm talking about, I would have thought that you're on drugs, get off the bongs, hey, you know, you must be on some good mushies. But you know, it works. Like if you meet, if you speak to Joe Rogan, a lot of people relate us very similar. And yeah, the guy is an absolute superstar. But it's you know, what do you want to keep living a lie? Or do you want to keep living the truth? So go and educate. I'm going to be bringing a lot of this stuff into the 2-day workshop as well, where you're going to be face to face, and we're going to be, you know, rocking it that way. And you know, I'm absolutely loving. People have already started to commit, putting their what's the name down, putting their commitment down, rocking out the retreat, which is really good. Which is on the 7th to the 12th in Bali. Plus, there's people starting to come through for the workshop, which is going to be really cool. So have an awesome day. Hey Jordan, good to have you on, man. That message, did you end up getting that message? I sent you an email, but I want to just make sure that you got that. So have an awesome day, guys. I'm going to go and rock it. Any questions, send me a message and so on and so forth, and I'll get back to you soon. Have an awesome day. Take care.